Trump lashes out on Stephen Colbert, urges CBS to put him to sleep. Okay, and that's pretty strong words. Put him to sleep. Humberto, do you have a clip on that story with Trump and Stephen Colbert from CBS? If you have that, do me a favor and you find that. I'm going to read the story because I think there is a clip on that. So President Trump went off on late night's host Stephen Colbert Tuesday night, calling him a dead man walking and urging CBS to put him to sleep. In a midnight Truth Social post by the president, he dragged the Late Show host as a pathetic train wreck who is running on hatred and fumes. Stephen Colbert is a pathetic train wreck with no talent or anything else necessary for show business success. Now, after being terminated by CBS, but left out to dry, he has actually gotten worse. Along with his non-existent rating, Trump wrote, Stephen is running on hatred and fumes. A dead man walking. CBS should put him to sleep. Now is the humanitarian thing. That is a humanitarian thing to do. Shortly after the message to Colbert and CBS, Trump followed up with a broader warning to late night show hosts that are almost 100% negative to Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party. If network newscasts and their late night shows are almost 100% negative to President Donald J. Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party, shouldn't their very valuable broadcast licenses be terminated? I say yes. He said this on Truth Social. All right, Tom, I'm coming to you first. Your thoughts on this?
So I think it's one thing to point out like a media criticism. It's quite another thing to go kind of get a little close to the edge. And I think at times this criticism gets close to the edge. Here's why it worries me. The anti-Trump movement that is in the government, if something happens at midterms or they gain a little bit of power, they're going to come back the other way. Now we don't have freedom of speech. We have implied censorship or individual selective censorship by whoever's in power. Whoever's in power says, you know, that Colbert guy, they should put that guy to sleep. Oh, here it comes. Well, now somebody else comes in, they're going to say, you know what? I don't like PBD and that team. You know, they start in the middle, but they're kind of conservative. You know what? I don't like what they're saying about California, and I'm Gavin Newsom, and whoops, I'm president. Guess what? I think it's going to come back the other way. It's one thing for Trump to say, hey, you know what? I am not a fan of Stephen Colbert. I am not a fan of the things he says. And by the way, he was so wrong on vaccination. How did that little dancing syringes age? Gosh, I'm just not a fan. It's one thing for a leader to say that and have an honest opinion. It's another thing for take that guy off the air, and then the other way, going back and looking at other things and saying, hey, let's do this or do that. I just think they got to be really careful here because the pendulum swings both ways. And now what do? Is you just wait for whoever's in power, and then the American people lose the ability. Remember, freedom of speech means that the citizen gets to listen to both sides and vote.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, Tom. And the reality of it is, you know, my opinion on what Trump's going to have to do in 2028, in the month of October, Trump's going to have to, the reason why Trump is speaking so aggressively right now is because he's going to self-pardon himself in October of 2028. I think he's going to self-pardon himself. I think he's going to pardon everybody in his administration. I think this is going to be a new playbook that every president does moving forward because it gives them a blanket immunity against being able to say stuff like this. You can't say stuff like this. You can't say put him to sleep. You can't say, take him off the air. You can't say stuff like this because what you're doing is, you're opening it up. In 4 years. You can only speak like this if you know you're going to be there for 40 years, and you're not. You're only there for 3 years. So guess who this is going to hurt in 3 years? In 3 years, when somebody else gets elected, let's just say Newsom is in, or somebody else, AOC is in, or one of those guys comes in and they win. You don't think they're going to come after everybody? I don't want to, just repeat the same thing you're saying. All I'm saying is think long term. Call them out with data. Like when I was talking earlier with the light, show the fact that 98% of their guests are liberal. Highlight it. And everybody's like, oh my God, I never knew about that. Highlight the fact that Stephen Colbert is so one-sided and never has Republican guests. And if they do, it's Liz Cheney who hates Trump. Talk about that kind of stuff. But I don't know if I like the strategy on what he's doing and what he's saying. But Vinny, I'll come to you next. Your thoughts on what he said about Stephen Colbert in a minute. I'm going to show you guys what Jimmy Kimmel said in the video. And so, Vinny, I may even show it now, and you can react to both.
Yeah, Pep, show Kimmel first.
Humberto, if you have that clip of what Jimmy Kimmel said, the video clip on Twitter or X, if you can play that clip, because this is Jimmy Kimmel on Christmas talking to the world. He's talking, I think, a little bit about UK and saying, hey, here's what America's going through. We're acting a little bit weird. Just be patient with us.
And
watch this. Watch this. Go for it.
I honestly have no idea what's going on over there. I do know what's going on over here, though. And I can tell you that from a fascism perspective, this has been a really great year. Tyranny is booming over here. You may have read in your colorful newspapers, my country's president would like to shut me up because I don't adore him in the way he likes to be adored. The American government made a threat against me and the company I work for, and all of a sudden we're off the air. And because so many people spoke out, we came back. Our show came back stronger than ever. We won, the president lost, and now I'm back on the air every night. We are not bright. We're Americans. No one knows better than you. We're always just a little bit late to the game. But do we come through in the end? Maybe. Give us about 3 years, please. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for Spider-Man. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Okay, so that video, the message that he's given, and Vinny, I know you've seen this clip, Vinny, yourself. I want to come to you with this one here, Humberto, if you can go to Vinny. Vinny, when you're seeing this, him give that message, and then the president going after Stephen Colbert, what progress do you see is happening here? You think this is the right move?
Well, first of all, Pat, like Jimmy Kimmel, how much of a whining, crying, you made tens of millions of dollars, okay? Your ratings suck, okay? You got taken off the air, not because Donald Trump said, hey, I don't want people saying mean things about me. Everybody's been saying mean things about him forever. That's why their numbers suck, Pat. They've been hemorrhaging money forever, but we know why they keep them on the air, because the donors, they don't care that they're losing money. They just want Batman, Orange Man, Hitler Man done. So for him to go to the UK, go live and trash us and trash our country, you're in a country, Jimmy, where if you post negative things on people on social media, the cops come to your house and arrest you. In the UK, okay? In Germany, a girl got raped by 11 guys, and somebody went on social media after the raper and said, hey, you're a jerk and I hope God does whatever to you. That girl did more prison time than the guy that was raping the 11-year-old girl. So enough with Jimmy Kimmel. I cannot wait for the end of 2026 when we don't have to hear this guy anymore. It's just constant whining and crying. What a beta female type move to go to another country to bash our country. On the flip side, what he said with Colbert, that type of dialogue, Pat, that type of put him to sleep and putting in quotations, I get it. You know, Krasenstein and all these freaking little worms, they use anything to try to incite violence and stuff towards the Trump and our side. I don't think it's a good move. But again, Pat, this is President Trump. Nobody's going to tell him what to do. I'm pretty sure whoever's the person typing the stuff for him to post, they're not even saying anything. They're just like, whatever the president says, write it. I wish you had somebody to be like, I wouldn't put the quotations and put him to sleep, because everybody knows what that means. Everybody knows what 8647 means with James Comey in the sand, trying to pretend like you don't think that we know what you're saying. I just think a little bit more like he could step back, but, you know, he is who he is.
Adam, thoughts?
So let's just be clear. In America, we believe in free speech. I happen to be a free speech absolutist. Say what you want to say. As long as it is not inciting violence, say what you got to say. Look at the clowns in the comment section right now. They can say what they want to say. All good. We're grown-ups. We got thick skin. At the same time, America is the last great hope of the world. We see what's going on in the rest of the world. And you have the weak West. You see what's going on in Canada. You see what's going on in limiting free speech in the UK. We see what's going on in Australia. And at the same time, you have these strong men in Putin and Xi and Kim Jong-un and the Ayatollah. You can't say shit. You'll end up missing. Even Giorgia Meloni in Italy, remember that conversation she was having with Trump? She's like, you deal with all these reporters on a daily basis? He's like, yeah. She's like, not in my country, buddy. So Trump deals with this nonstop for 10 years. Someone who was a darling of the media, darling of Hollywood, darling of the legacy TV, darling of hip hop. Now he's the most hated man in America, certainly the world, according to Americans. But I totally understand why Trump would say things like they're the enemy of the people. I totally understand why he says things like they're running on hatred and fumes, because they are. Dude, I rarely, if ever, watch late night. Sometimes I'll watch The Daily Show, and sometimes I'll watch a little mixture of Colbert, of Kimmel, of Fallon, just to see who's on, Sometimes I'll even watch the number one show in late night, Greg Gutfeld, who I've said time and time again, number one show, least talented, least creative, number one show. There's a reason for it, because I believe in free markets. People vote with their feet and with their eyes. But I happened to come across Colbert, and I sent Humberto some pictures. Who do you think just showed up on Colbert? Not random, just a random day that I picked up. His basically twin, Rachel Maddow, shows up, and I'm like, which one's which? Do you have that picture, Humberto? So, of course, imagine Megyn Kelly showing up on Colbert. Imagine Brett Baer. Imagine PBD. They won't have these people on. PBD, I believe you mentioned 98% of guests are liberals. Humberto, you got that picture yet? No, can't pull it up. But the point is, they look exactly alike. And it's, is anybody shocked to see Rachel Maddow basically making cocktails with Colbert? I totally understand Trump's frustration, but at the same time, free speech, free speech, free speech.
They're not going to win long term. And here's what I mean, they're not going to win long term. You know, think about it. Remember when the whole October 7th thing happened, and right off the bat, it was such a sensitive topic, and it was nasty. It divided the Republican Party. It was just a confusing thing. Democrats were becoming Republicans. Bill Ackman, you know, he was giving all this money to Harvard. He's leaving because the way Harvard president, Columbia, wait a minute, you don't take care of Jews. And then next thing you know, the other argument was you can't make any comments about Jews or else, and it's anti-Semitic. And then wait a minute, if we want to criticize, we should be able to do that as well. And then that led to, I'm just no war. I just don't want any war. No, I'm in America first. I'm an American only. And everybody was filtering out these ideas. Everybody was filtering out the ideas, and we're just listening and kind of giving our own opinions. And then you realize, after about some time, there's some logic and good points on both sides of the aisle. You know, if we, for ourselves in America, this Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert model is going to go away. These guys are getting destroyed by podcasters and YouTubers. That model's gone. Why do you think the Oscars, not the Oscars, is it the Oscars announced they're going to do it on YouTube? You know why they're going on YouTube? No one's freaking watching it. Mm-hmm. No one's watching it anymore. No one gives a shit for you to get up and give me climate change bullshit type of stuff. No one cares, no one cares on all the fear porn you want to push down everybody's throat. And then, by the way, this year they finally had a podcaster award that they're giving away. I think Grammys had it, or one of the ones had it, not Grammys. One of the ones had the podcaster award. Guess who was not on that list? Joe Rogan wasn't on that list, not as a nominee. You're going to give away a podcast award and not have Joe in the conversation? You've lost your. So this is so much credibility that they're losing, and eventually the right ideas will win. Just for a period of time, they're going to be criticized, and some people will be confused. Well, maybe this, well, maybe that. Take your time. The right argument will eventually be filtered out. Doesn't mean the other side's not going to be around. Doesn't mean bots are not being paid behind closed doors. Doesn't mean other countries like Qatar, Israel, AIPAC, they're not going to spend their money to get you to think the way they think. Doesn't mean China is not spending $70, $100, $200 million in universities to get kids that are going to school to be teaching a certain course that these universities are teaching, to teach a history that shows China as a better country, not as all these people that they killed. It doesn't mean all of these countries, including ourselves, are not going to impose our philosophy on everybody else. You don't think we're pitching capitalism to everybody? You don't think everybody's doing it? But guess what? The right argument is based on who's producing the best results. Guess what countries produce the best results around the world? America has. Period. You can say whatever you want about UK. How long has UK been around? How long was UK the financial capital of the world? What happened to UK? What happened to you right now? I was watching a video about how UK was in the 50s, 60s, and what the families looked like to what it looks like today. They lost their entire identity. What happened to a lot of these countries? How did America, that's 249 years old, about to be 260, 250 in a week, July 4th, they're going to be 250 years old. How did that country whoop on Iran, the Persian Empire? How did that country whoop on China? How did that country whoop on Russia? How did that country whoop on UK? How? Better ideas eventually win. It takes a minute, but they eventually win. There is nothing more exciting than when I run into people that are wearing this gear, Merry Christmas, boldly. Mario's been wearing this every day, wherever he's going, the VT gear here, the future looks bright. And when you open it up here, it says future looks bright. I love seeing the future looks bright hat that Tom's got on, or you got the faith over fear gear. Record-breaking number of people are wearing the merch gear that we have with us. And there's some massive announcements that I'll be making here very, very soon to you guys, what our plans are going into 2026 with this of VT merch. We want tens of millions of people to represent this year. My suggestion to you, wear these things boldly. If you support our brand, you like what we do, you don't want us to take money from Qatar or some of these other organizations that are coming and offering money to own podcasts and shows, I highly recommend you support brands that are able to give their opinions and thoughts freely. And if you believe the future looks bright like we do, I am certain the future looks bright. Let me give you guys a crazy story. In 1997, Apple did $816 million of losses. Their top line revenue in 1997, they lost $816 million in 1997. Today, Apple makes $1.1 billion per day.
Wow.
They lost $1 billion in a year in 97. Today, they make $1.1 billion a day. They believe the future looks bright. Now they're a $4 trillion organization. For us, for some of you guys that may be celebrating Christmas, and honestly, maybe things weren't going right for you. Maybe I've had the Christmas when I'm sitting, I'm like, is anything going to turn around for me? Is life going to change at all? Like, is this how it's going to be? What am I going to get my break? You know that feeling how like you feel like, man, like you're carrying a lot, like the feeling of you go to Christmas and everybody's giving gifts. And it's like that one movie, 4 Christmases, where Dallas, Denver, all the brothers come in, and Vince Vaughn is the big brother that's making all this money now. And he brings the recent Xbox and he brings all this stuff. And he says, did you not see the minimum of $10? And the other guy a flashlight. I don't know if you guys remember that scene. Sometimes that may be the Christmas. Things are not going right for you. Yesterday, Vinny was sharing a story with me, which is an incredible, incredible story that I want to share with you guys, which is what we believe in. Have you ever heard of a guy named Jack Straus? You ever heard of Jack Straus? Can you do me a favor, Humberto? Type in Jack Straus, then put poker. Jack Straus, S-T-R-A-U-S-S, and type in poker. Craziest story of Jack Straus. One day, Jack Straus in 1982, this man that Humberto is about to pull up his picture because Humberto is so fast and quick and phenomenal. This guy's playing poker. This guy's playing poker in 1982. He's in a World Series poker tournament, okay? Right there. That man right there. Zoom in a little bit. He's in the 1982 World Series poker. You know the big tournament that people win $10 million? In 1982, that guy right there is getting off the table because he called all in and he has no chips left. He's thinking. He gets up to leave. And then all of a sudden they say, no, Jack, you have one last $500 chip left. He says, you're kidding me. They said, no. All right. I mean, you only got one chip left, $500, which is what? Nothing. He takes the $500 chip and he keeps doubling it and doubling it and doubling it and doubling it. Do you know what ends up happening to him? He wins the flipping 82 World Series poker.
Wow.
Did you hear the story? Well, some of you are watching this. You're like, dude, I'm down to my last chip. I'm trying to figure life out. I went all into my business. I took money out of my 401k. My wife and I wanted to start a restaurant. We did this. This Christmas was rough. We stayed home. We didn't go anywhere. We got some basic gifts, $10 Amazon gift cards. Life can turn around if you think long-term. That's what we believe in. That's what happened to every single one of us because we believe the future looks bright. So if you believe the future looks bright and you support our brand, go to vtmerch.com, place an order for yourself, whether it's the Merry Christmas gear, whether it's the future looks bright, faith over fear, or the shoes, FLB. We're excited about big plans we got in 2026, and I'll tell you more about it in the first week that we do the podcast in January of 2026.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.